Every year around this time, I find myself looking at old albums with my kids. I have 2 sons. They're grown now, and when I look at these pictures, I realize that I missed large chunks of their lives, going off to work all day and only seeing them at night and on the weekends. But that's how it is for most fathers. Stephen Capen is an exception to the rule. For the last 6 months, he's been at home caring for his infant son, Charlie. But you may remember Stephen in another context.
Here's a question for you, Marshall. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm not feeling too good myself. I'm just getting ready for my stand in the unemployment line.
Stephen used to be one of the wildest DJs in the Bay Area until shortly after his son was born. His wife, Deborah, opted for a job promotion in the sales department at KFRC, a promotion that took her out of the home 5 days a week. So, Stephen decided to stay at home with Charlie.
Uh-oh. Look. See? The real essence of it is that he and I get to spend an intense amount of time together, maybe for a year or so. And I have other children, and I've never spent this kind of time with one of my children. I've never had this quality time, particularly at such an early age. When I started having kids, which is 16 years ago now, I got married when I was pretty young, she did everything, and I let her do everything. I mean, you know, the husband never touched diapers if he didn't have to. It was a game to get out of doing that kind of work, and so forth and so on. And I never really experienced firsthand all the drudgery that's involved with it, which is no joke, it's true. And the pluses, too, which are really something.
That's cold. That's hot.
I'm just about 37 years old now. That it's a great time to have a child. It's a great time to spend time with that child. Because when I was 19, there was no time for that. I hadn't finished what I was doing yet, you know, and I was still running pretty hard. And I'm exhausted at night. I mean, at 9 o'clock, I'm just, take it away. Even my father, who got to meet Charlie for the first time just a few weeks ago back east, doesn't, you know, it's very interesting and it's all wonderful, but he still looks askance at, you know, when are you going back to work, and this sort of mentality, you know, because that's, from his perspective, my place is back at work, and this is just sort of, well, you always were strange, you know.
I don't get that many judgments on what I'm doing. People pretty much keep to themselves, except for my mother.
What does she say?
I get a feeling from her that I'm letting my son down in some ways. I'm not. He's and the only way that I can judge it, and that hopefully you'll see, is by how happy and full he is.
Being a house husband is not without problems. David Steinberg, who spent several years at home with his son Dylan, has written about those problems in his book, Father Journal.
Your kid is in the supermarket cart, right, and you're pushing down the aisle, and a kid starts to cry, right? Sometimes a kid cries, right? Right away, 4 women descend on the scene, because if you let your kid cry for 2 seconds, you're obviously neglecting your kid and don't know what to do. And besides, if you come over to your kid, there's a sense of, oh, here, let me help you.
You don't want it?
For many women, it's hard to turn the children over to their fathers, especially when they're not quite sure about their competence in parenting. Stephen and Deborah experienced this recently when he and Charlie went for a 3-week trip alone.
That was real difficult for me. I behaved like a mother dog who had lost her litter. I would walk in the house and walk from room to room. That was my first separation from Charlie. I had never been away from him for more than 12 hours at a time. That was real difficult for me at first. But I knew that they were having a great time.
Are you ever working at your desk or on the phone and you look up and see Charlie's picture and think, what am I doing here?
Yes. I look up at a picture of Charlie, and I can, in a matter of a second, well up tears in my eyes, because there's a day that's going by that I'm missing something that he's doing, something that he's learning, and that I'm not a part of it.
A mother is never as detached from all of the chores of housekeeping.
Lillian Rubin is a psychologist and sociologist who's made a career of studying family relationships.
Even in families where it's absolutely clear that the husband will take what is normally the wife's role and the wife will be out in the world earning the living for the family, she is never as detached. I have never seen a case like that. Now, there may be some, but I would suggest that those were people who had some serious emotional difficulties. So he enters a woman's world and he feels very alien there. He needs to learn a whole new language. He needs to learn how to begin to interact in a new way, because women, for example, when they're home, find ways to seek each other out and to have some kind of social dialogue between them. To the degree that he tries to make that shift and makes it successfully, he then begins to feel very alienated in the world of men.
Pushing a baby carriage, walking down the street, passing construction workers working with jackhammers, and you're pushing a baby carriage down the street. I know from talking to a lot of men that there's kind of a feeling like these guys look at me funny, like they look at this, you know, who's this guy pushing a baby carriage down the street?
You're used to being in the limelight. How does it feel now that you're not?
The whole media thing, it's just not there, and you know, it seems awfully quiet once in a while, and maybe I didn't make the right decision. Maybe I should have kept going until I reached some sort of pinnacle of success and then let go of that. Maybe I quit too soon, you know?
Without a doubt, this unusual arrangement has created difficulties for Stephen and Deborah, not the least of which is financial. Not many families can afford to have a full-time parent, let alone the husband, who in most cases can earn more money. Stephen and Deborah agree that their arrangement is temporary, but for now, they say it's been worth the trouble.
Charlie was like this angel that came down into our lives. And I don't mean to make that sound melodramatic at all, but he changed, he transformed both of us. Stephen is vastly different from the person that I had known before. He had made attempts at having families. Charlie is his fifth child. He's changed in that that's the most important thing to him. It's the most meaningful thing.
I chose to do this, and I'm glad I'm doing this, and it's a, you know, maybe a year out of my life. It would be more, I think, if I can swing it, it'll be more.